Hey, welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. So continuing on with the wood kiln, I have a little temperature sensor. This will sit inside the wood kiln and transmits the temperature of the ambient air and the temperature that'll be inside the kiln. So because they're both sitting outside right now, I have a variance of 0.1 degrees here, Celsius, but I'm going to get this outside a little later today and into some sunshine. Let's just see what happens. I also picked up some little foam, spray foam insulation that I'm going to put into the kiln. I put some masking tape on the back here, so we're just going to be filling up that little bit of a gap between this plastic and the top of the lid. So I'll spray some foam in there and get that insulated. And then I also picked up a blanket. It's not black, but it's dark enough. It'll absorb some heat. And we'll figure out how to get that mounted in there to provide a little baffle. And then I'm going to take it outside and just see what it does in terms of temperature. There's still some sealing, and I want to get a seal that runs right along here between the lid and the top of the cabinet. So just little things to button up. But we'll get to most of that over time, and probably as we mill the lumber that's going to be used to side it. So, sealing and a little bit of a test. That's today's adventure. So I'm going to put the foam in. It's going to go down in this little gap in here. But I needed a way to keep the lid open, so I made this little prop. Just a simple bracket. This is something left over from a roll-up blind, a little bracket on a piece of wood. And I just cut a little notch in the end of that wood to set it here on the lip. So that just kind of lifts up out of the way. I'll probably make a way to permanently attach it up here as that swings up. Maybe clip on with a magnet or even a bit of Velcro. But we'll do something just to kind of make sure we have a way to keep that out of the way as the lid folds down. However, I now have the lid held up so we can spray our foam in there. I'm going to suit up with some gloves and put on my shop apron so I don't get any splatter on me. I got too excited, I just went and sprayed this all in there without filming it. But you've probably seen spray foam installed before, but I'm just going to put a little bit in some gaps here. This can be cut off at some point. Don't have too many gaps actually, so it's pretty nice. All right, that'll do for now. I'm going to put some tape around here too, just kind of more than anything to keep the styrofoam in place until I get the siding on. Okie dokie. And let me take you over and see the foam that's coming out now. So we got the foam just kind of poking through a little bit, so that gap is completely sealed up. And I got some, just have some tape on the back, which I can take off once once the foam sets. But for now, I think I'd like to take this out into the sun, see how it behaves. Okay, just put this little bracket on here so that now I can take the leg and the prop, bring it up to set it on there, lower the lid down and it's out of the way. So you can see the leg in there. When I open up the lid, I can just drop that down. Oops. course it slams down, but they can just set the leg in. It's a lot of work. Okay, let's take this outside. The sun is shining. It is currently about 19 degrees Celsius. So let's just see what this will do without the blanket in there to capture sun and heat up. So the sun just came out from behind a cloud, and after just about a minute, the temperature inside the kiln has gone up to 29.9, almost 30 degrees, from the ambient temperature of 19 degrees. So we're 10 degrees warmer in the kiln already after just a minute of some moderate sunshine. We still have a bit of, oh, there we've gone up to 32. So that's without the blanket, that's without any air moving around to circulate. So the temperature thermometer in the kiln is on the floor at the coldest part of the kiln. So yeah, I think this is gonna be successful. On a sunny day, I think we'll do really well. I'll put in this blanket now and let's see if we can get any more heat absorption, and I'm gonna raise the thermometer off the floor just a few inches, see what it's like kind of more in the middle of the kiln. So I've got up to a 16 degree differential between the ambient temperature and the inside of the kiln. I just opened up the lid though, put in the blanket, and now I'm under a lot of cloud cover, so I'm expecting to see that drop fairly dramatically, pretty close to ambient temperature in a minute. And then as the sun comes back, but it's going to be a little while because there's a lot of cloud cover at the moment. Such are the hazards of living in southern Ontario. We get a lot of cloud cover. But we'll let this go and we'll give you an update as we see more heat. So I put the blanket in, I just kind of draped over the front. There you can see temperature dropping already. So I've got the blanket in there draped over the, basically covering the inside of the plastic lid. And we'll see with a bit of an air gap there, and the probe about 6 inches off the floor of the kiln. So I'll keep monitoring this for a little while and see how we do. In the meantime, I'm going to remove this pile before we put it into the kiln and start making up some shiplap siding out of a cedar log. So we'll get another cedar log on the table. By the way, our little dehumidifier has been running. We have collected out of the entire shop here that I'm working in, collected about an inch of water there. I don't know how much that is in terms of milliliters or liters or quarts or pints or gallons, but it's working is the bottom line. It's actually drawing out moisture. So when it's inside the kiln, I think it'll do a pretty good job. Very confined area, sealed, and it should be able to get a lot of moisture. It also has a little fan, so it circulates the air just a little wee bit, but I'll have another fan in there to help blowing that air around. Okay, let's get a cedar log on here. And I do have another 3/4 inch, 3 teeth per inch blade that I got. So I'm gonna put that on the sawmill. It'll be good enough for cutting the cedar log. Just a little update too. Milling that maple log and the little bit of cutting that we did for the wood kiln has generated, you know, a little more than half a pail of sawdust. So the dust collector's working really well. Just gonna empty it out for the next bit of work that we do. All right, I got the kiln outside. Temperature, ambient temperature is about 20 degrees, just a little under 20 degrees Celsius. The inside temperature of the kiln is 36 degrees Celsius. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just a little past 4. So I kind of passed the peak sun time for the day, and I am under mostly cloudy skies. So I had a little brief period of sunshine where the temperature in the kiln got up to about 39 degrees. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow where we're supposed to get more sunny skies, and we'll see what we get there. In fact, I'm going to put the wood in the kiln tomorrow just as is, as the kiln is, with the dehumidifier, and see what kind of moisture we can pull out with that little thing. In the meantime, yep, another cedar log put on the mill. I'm going to mill this up into some shiplap. So I'm going to cut some 1/2-inch pieces out of this, starting by taking about 1 inch off the top of this, and then we'll get down to the 1/2 inch bit. I am using the smaller of my bandsaw blades. I thought I'd just give it a try with cedar, see how it does. I'm not expecting a lot out of that blade. I do have a 3/4 inch by 3-tooth blade, which I might put on to mill the rest of it, but I thought we'll give this one a little try through cedar and see what it does. So I'm going to put you on time lapse while we make this cut. There's our first slice off this log, and using the 1/2-inch blade. I was initially running a little bit fast, was doing fairly well through here, but when it came across a knot, you can start to see some of the jumping of the blade here, just showing up in the light. And I continued at that speed. Once it got through that knot, it seemed to level off and was okay for a little while. So we got to the next knot, and we had a little jumping, and I slowed it down a little bit at this point and ran just really, really, really slowly the rest of the way. And when we got to this knot, not nearly the same jumping around. So, bottom line, a 1/2-inch blade will work. There's no drift. But I have to go extremely slow. And what I was observing, so here's my 1/2-inch blade. You can see the width here. It is a pretty tiny blade. But what I was observing as it was cutting at a slow speed, it was fine. If I sped it up a little bit, it was cutting okay, but every so often I'd hear a little noise and I could see a puff of sawdust come out the other side of the blade. And what that indicated to me is that it was having a hard time clearing the sawdust out of the cut. So to use a 3-tooth per inch blade, I really do need to go quite slow. I think the 1/2-inch blade, I have to be particularly careful because it'll drift really quickly. Going with a 3/4 inch blade, the width of the blade will actually help keep it centered a little bit better. So it won't drift quite as much, but it too will probably drift just having 3/4 of an inch, or 3 teeth per inch. So I am more than anxious now to see what happens with a 2-tooth per inch blade. I'm just waiting with bated breath now to get my hands on that blade. But what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to switch out to the 3/4 inch blade, again 3 teeth per inch until my new blade comes, and take some slices off this log. So I do want to get some shiplap out of here. I want to start building that framing around the kiln. So I'll do that tomorrow. That'll be in the next video. In the meantime, just another little update here on the solar kiln. We've had some sunshine in the last little bit. Took the temperature up to 35 degrees. It had dropped actually down to 30 under some cloud. So we still have a difference of about 15 degrees from the ambient temperature, even with partly sunny sky and the sun now getting pretty low in the sky at about 5:15. So that's it for today. This will go into a burn pile, but the rest of the log is going to get cut into shiplap. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.